Welcome to Technology and Education Today. I'm Richard Smith.
And I'm Caroline Crawford.
And today we are discussing an article that appeared in the elearningindustry.com publication, and it's entitled 5 Online Learning Skills That Online Instructors Should Have, and it's by Mary Burns.
I'm sure she's very strong in her field.
I'm sure she is too. And there is a lot of good information in this article. I think we could really gain something by discussing it and looking at it from a variety of angles.
I found it a nice overview of several significant topics, but all it offered was really an overview of, by the way, really should consider this, instead of going in depth.
Well,
so for someone who's brand new and just needs an overview, it's a great opportunity.
Well, I think let's take it step by step.
Oh, well, if we're going to take it step by step, what are these learning skills an instructor needs? What is that about?
Well,
you mean in instructional skills to help support the learners?
Well, okay, now you're on your soapbox. Okay.
It's merely a mention that an instructor is an instructor, a facilitator, framing information. You're not learning nothing. You are instructing the learner.
Well,
and framing the information and supporting their learning. It's
very interesting that for the last maybe, 5 to 10 years, the idea of teaching a group of students and expressing it as teaching has sort of disappeared, and all we hear is learning. You need to have learning skills rather than teaching skills. Well, here's the problem. I mean, the teacher is supposed to teach. And the teacher does not learn the students' English. The teacher does not learn the students' mathematics.
Not if they're educated, no.
Anyway, enough.
Okay, enough play.
Okay, step number 1, content knowledge. What Mary Burns says is that the online instructor should have content knowledge in the course that he or she is instructing. Now, intuitively, that makes sense.
That makes sense. On the other hand, I think she's confusing the design of the online course and the instruction or facilitation of the online course.
Well, I think what it does is...
It offers enhancements. You need the knowledge base, obviously, to frame the information for the learner and to offer enhancements for the learner. But there's not a differentiation between designing, developing an online course, and instructing it.
Well, I think the assumption here, unstated, is that the content knowledge is needed if the online teacher is indeed the person who has designed that course in that subject area.
But it's not clearly offered. It's a lovely article and it sounds great, you know, the whole kumbaya, yes, yes, yes. But in reality, a lot of information is not delineated appropriately. Well, it's not clearly articulated.
Right. So in this section is the answer is, I think, yes, content knowledge is needed, but whether you are the instructor or designer or just plain teaching the course.
Facilitating the course.
Now, if you're the instructional designer of the course, you better have that content knowledge in order to put that course together.
Unless you have amazing subject matter experts.
Right. But for the most part, a regular teacher is not going to have a subject matter expert to work with him or her if they're designing a course. That person is going to be the subject matter expert.
Are we talking about pre-K to 12 or higher education or business and industry? Well, it doesn't sound like business industry.
If you say online education these days, we're either talking about high school or at the university level. In either case, if you don't have that, if you're teaching the course and you didn't design the course and you don't have the subject matter expertise,
what are you doing instructing the course?
Well, you could do it if there are no discussions in the course, because it's in the discussions of the course that the teacher needs to have that online expertise. If you haven't designed the course already, it needs to have that subject area expertise, because without that you cannot get into the discussions and comment coherently.
I would be really concerned, quite concerned, if someone did not have an understanding of the subject matter, yet they were facilitating the course. That would be rather concerning to me.
It would be very strange.
Not to state the obvious, but one hopes that you have a clue when you're instructing a course.
Now, the next step in this article was the idea of blending pedagogy, technology, and content into the course as one teaches the course. once again, the assumption
Can we go
here,
back to so are we talking about the instructional design of the course, or the facilitation,
right,
or the enhancement?
right. Well, once again, the idea behind this is that the course needs to be designed where there is a good blend between pedagogy, technology, and content. Because if you are assigned to teach a course that somebody else designed, there is very little you can do to affect any of this, because the course is set within a course management system. And if you want to go in there, first of all, you would have to have permission to get in there if you're not locked out of it. And if you go into that course and try to make adjustments in the, let's say, in the technology that's used, that's going to affect other parts of the course. And you as a teacher are going to discover that you may have caused problems by changing A. You have made a problem in section D, let's say. So there's all sorts of implications of that. So the idea.
My initial thought is pedagogy. What are you talking about? Are we talking about pre-K through maybe 10th grade? Because upper level high school and university level, they're andragogical,
Okay, well,
in focus.
It says pedagogical, so we'll just substitute that word.
So we're teaching children, not adults, children.
Okay.
Is
as far as this article is concerned, just think high school and college and graduate school, and the idea of blending the pedagogy and the technology, or the andragogy and the technology, the content, that has to do with the design. Whoever designs that course has to make certain that all of these things blend correctly, and you come up with a course that is not only effective in getting the students to learn the subject matter,
framing the information
but
appropriately
also,
from knowledge base all the way up through
right,
Bloom's taxonomy or the revised taxonomy of Anderson.
But also, it's a teachable course. As the person who is teaching the course
isn't going to die a horrid death staying up till 3 o'clock in the morning.
That's right.
But the knowledge is only one component of it, and framing the community environment and engagement with the learners is vitally important as well. And that's a task and a skill that a lot of instructors / facilitators have within a face-to-face environment, but it's a totally different animal within an online environment.
Well, that's the next step of these suggestions, which is to establish an online presence. Now, even if a course has been designed for you, if you have, as an online instructor, the opportunity to establish yourself in your own particular online presence.
And that revolves back to number one, where the instructor / facilitator should have an understanding of the knowledge base.
Right. But
just a thought.
How would you establish an online presence? Well, in every online course, there should be a section where you introduce yourself as the instructor to your students.
Well, engagement, absolutely.
And so that's
personal engagement with the learners, with pulling in community information into the environment, modeling for the learners how the course will
if the online course is set, there's just so much you can do into pulling a community into the course.
Newspaper articles, anything online, different
so
video components.
You can add to that course
enhancements. Yeah.
You can add to that course, perhaps, depending on how the discussions are set up within the discussions.
Right.
But to put that into the units of the course is a major undertaking. So that's not so easy.
If you can access the actual subject matter area.
If that even goes into if you can access, certainly. So where can you make your mark and establish your personality, your online presence, in your introduction, in how you respond to people, to your students in the discussions, and
as
also
well as modeling how you expect the learners as colleagues to interact.
And you can also establish your online presence in the manner in which you grade the students' assignments.
True.
If you have some leeway there, and so it would involve the type of comments you make.
The ways that you offer the commentary, if it's word processing, if it's an audio file, there's so many other ways of engaging.
And very importantly, how quickly you respond to student inputs.
True. That's a difficult one.
It's
especially
difficult
when you have so many other things going on. But you're right, it's very important.
It's part of establishing your online presence. Now, the other item that Mary Burns discusses, which is also very important, is establishing or having effective communication skills. And so how would you communicate in an online course that's, let's say, that you didn't design? Okay, so you have one.
I'm waiting to see where you're going with this.
Well, you have one, you have your ability to, when you go on the discussion board, it's your ability to write and comment in complete sentences, grammatically correct, and in a manner which will be acceptable to your students. In other words, you don't want to be abrasive, abrupt, or what have you. You want to try to be supportive, but at the same time, if a student needs a critique, and something needs to be critiqued, it needs to be critiqued. If the course involves videos of you as the teacher and you are responsible for making those videos, then you ought to get some assistance on how to make a video of yourself.
You're very good at that.
Thank you. You ought to make certain that you rehearse what you're going to say, video record it, have somebody critique how you've said it, and then put it into the course. There's a lot of things that go into that. I don't want to get into.
But luckily, things have become so much easier with the smartphones and the high definition. You don't have to have a full-blown setup in order to do something that is viable at this point. Now, on the other hand, there is a quality standard. You don't want to look like an idiot.
Well, if you are giving a video or showing a video of yourself on camera, you don't want to get yourself in a position where you have inserted or used your first draft, so that when you're talking when the students see you talking, this is what they see. I think that what would
and looking. I have this horrible habit, looking all over the place and looking at the screen and my mouse and what I'm doing on the desktop and maybe the cat or the puppy dog or getting in the picture.
All of that counts in the videos. Don't submit your first draft. That's the key.
And
here.
Look at it. Yeah. Look and see what you look like and things that you can do to enhance.
Absolutely. And the last item that Mary Burns mentions or notes as an important quality for an online teacher is the ability to manage students. And in essence, we're talking...
What does that mean, manage students?
We're talking about making certain that students who have never taken an online course before stay on schedule.
Oh, you're supporting the self-regulation of the student.
Right. Stay on schedule, that if your students are working in groups, you make certain those groups are functioning correctly and you intervene if somebody is not working properly within the group, that you have a way of getting that information about how the group is working from the students.
Which is private, which is not offensive in nature.
So that those
like in one of my courses, I have a peer review for the little teams that they're working in. It's vitally important that you have that engagement within the team environment, and correcting behaviors early on is vitally important. But I don't want someone to come and narc about what's going on. I mandate that they must inform me, not only how their team members are doing, but also how they're doing and whether or not they're meeting their expectation standard. And then I look at everybody's peer review and see, okay, so what's really going on?
This term narc, is that a academic term that appears in
I'm from
journals?
The 80s, what can I say? I don't want them to come and tattle or fib about whatever. Come and tell me what's really going on and set them up in a negative situation concerning their team members. I don't want to have to go back and say, you know, so-and-so told me this. What's your response? I would much rather have a mandated experience. Everyone is communicating with me, and then I have a chance to, because they've also, if someone is an issue, they've also communicated with me, and I can go back and talk to them initially about what their peer review stated.
Okay, all of this goes back to the design of the online course, which
Absolutely.
I think is weaving through all this article, but unsaid.
Weaving or woven or?
Woven.
Alrighty.
And that's it for
I heard weaving.
Technology and Education Today. I'm Richard Smith.
And I'm Caroline Crawford. Bye.